With just a few races to go, David Yunt could wrap up the championship tonight if mathematics are on his side. But there's one Brazilian who has something to say about that. His name, Thiago Canola. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jason White, and welcome to rounds 9 and 10 of the British F3 Series from 1973 at Brands Hatch. Cars are finishing their warm-up session now, I believe. You can hear them streaming around this track. And I believe I am joined in the booth by Jonatan Acerclinth. Jonatan, how are you?
Pretty good. Been refereeing some floorball games as usual this weekend. And, been enjoying that. Now, hopefully, we'll have a nice, tight little race around Brands Hatch Indy circuit, which ought to produce some great racing.
Yeah, this is a... Oh, well, we don't have you on screen at the moment. Let's see where you're at. There you are. Uh-oh, you're in the kitty litter.
Yeah. Pushed a bit too hard through turn 1, lost the rear.
Oh, well.
Not the first time.
Got a car coming up on you there. Be careful. There you go.
Yeah, my apologies. But yeah, hopefully the racing will be great around here.
All right, well, let's give everyone, and I want to actually, since you're on here, I want to thank you for the effort you put in to give us like a mathematical picture of what the championship is going to be. Let's tell everybody where we're at right now. David Yunt is in the lead with 150 points. Thiago Canola is in second with 85. Third place is Grant Riddall with 61. Fourth, Austin Johnson with 48 points. And fifth place is Ray Riddall with 46. Now, here's what's going to happen, or here's the mathematical situation with the points. And thank you again, Jonathan, for coming up with this for us. So the maximum points that Thiago Canola can amass from this point forward is 185. And this is due to the last event being worth double points. So if David amasses, and David meaning David Yunt, if he amasses 185 plus points, meaning more than 185 or more, with 35 additional points in the remaining events to get to that 185, he will be crowned the champion. Now, this evening we have two races that pay 20 points apiece, so it is conceivable that he could score those 35 points tonight. And given his performance, I wouldn't rule it out. What would you think, Jonathan?
It's certainly a very high ability that he could wrap up the championship. It'll be somewhat tricky around here because of the nature of the track, because unless he qualifies on pole, he could find it a struggle to win the race, because there's technically one really good overtaking and then a lot of shall we call them P1s, where either you make us or you send yourself or someone else off.
Yeah, well, with that in mind, let's talk about the track itself. This is the Indy section of Brands Hatch, which is just the portion that involves Druids and the backside of the course, and then the loop that takes you back onto the front straight. Looks really easy from an aerial view, but it is definitely not. As Jonathan pointed out, the best possible overtaking spot is probably the Druid's hairpin, which is turn 2, technically, on this track. The first race we're going to run tonight is 30 laps, or a little over 37 miles.
40 laps.
Oh, we're going to run 40 first, then 30?
Yes, that's the way they ran it in real life. 40 laps in one event, and then the second event later in the year was a slightly shorter one.
Okay, well, in that case, the graphic you see on your screen there is backwards. I apologize for that. So 40 laps for round 9, 30 laps for round 10.
Yes.
So you'd probably agree that Druids is the most likely place to overtake.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the other decently good overtaking spot is can't remember the name of the corner now, but the very last one, the very long sweeping right-hander.
Clearways?
Yes, I think that's what it's called on the Indy layout. Where Matt Neal has made it sort of a classical move. You set the driver in front of you up in the left kink before the right-hander, so they end up a little bit tight on the very entry, so they brake, end up a little bit wider than where they would want, and you send the car up the inside.
Yeah, that's an uphill corner as well, right? That is an uphill corner, I believe, right?
Yeah, on the entry it's an uphill, then you go over the crest and it falls away from you on the exit.
Alright, so it appears, is this the warm-up session completed now?
This is the qualifying session.
Oh, it's the qualifying session.
Just a few minutes behind.
Alright, well, in that case, let's use the time that we have to talk about what's coming up soon at HSO. This coming Wednesday, we go back touring car racing again. 1995 STW, round 4 of 8, the International DMV Baden Pokal. I suppose that's reasonably close to the pronunciation. Wednesday, October 23rd. These races are at Hockenheim, and coincidentally, someone posted these races on YouTube not long after we put up the race. I don't know if there's any coincidence there, but I was watching the actual race, and good grief, the opening lap of the first heat was wackadoodle, to say the least. Cars all over the place in the first turn. I don't know what it is about that simple right-hander at Hockenheim, but it so often seems to bite people.
And I think it's probably a case of I can make a few positions here.
Yeah, but
and then that didn't go off the way I wanted. I think in real life they lost 9 runners at turn 1, the first race. Hopefully we'll have a slightly cleaner event for ourselves on Wednesday.
I don't know. I mean, looking at, we're all about recreating history here at HSO, and based on how some of the races have gone so far, I don't know. Acerclinth was really crazy. So, all right. In any case, so that's coming up this Wednesday, and then another event, not this league, but our other league, International Sim Racing Organization. We're running the 1971 Race of Champions on Sunday, November 3rd. That's an open race, so watch for that over on the ISO forum. That should be fun. Proven mod that everybody likes, and a circuit that actually that would be taking place at Brand's. Actually, probably the same build that we're driving right now. Correct?
Yeah, more or less. It's the difference will be that it'll be the GP layout rather than the Indy layout.
Yes, it'll be the big layout.
But other than that, it'll be more or less the same kind of track surface we'll be racing on.
Mm-hmm.
Sure to provide some good action. We saw quite a good fight in that series when we ran it. Was it 1 or 2 years ago? 1 year ago, I think, last year.
Mm-hmm. And of course, that was the main series, not the races that didn't count for the championship. So we won't be technically repeating a round when we do that. I believe I believe the British Grand Prix in '71 was the
Silverstone.
The Silverstone, yes. All right, so looking at the clock here, we have 8 minutes and 37 seconds until we go to the race session. So we're going to pause for a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back for the start of the race. So for the next 40 seconds or so, enjoy this message from the Vauxhall Griffin. We'll be right back.
You know me. I'm the Griffin on all the Vauxhalls, the beautiful Vauxhalls. Like this new limited edition Ventura, the VIP for very important people like me. This special Victor, loaded with practical things for practical people like me. It's going to be a beautiful summer. Beavers will abound. Estates will bloom like flowers. And it's all going to happen at your Vauxhall dealers. Visit him, you really must. Have a beautiful summer in a beautiful Vauxhall.
And we're back. So, we've talked a lot, Jonathan, about the points situation. If you're just a run-of-the-mill, well, not run-of-the-mill, but if you're a driver who doesn't have a dog in that fight, what is your strategy for this race?
Probably race as hard as one can. Hope to pick up some good points and, if possible, have some really good racing. I'd say. I mean, essentially, as long as you don't take anyone out, no problem.
Angel May is saying that she was traumatized by the TV commercial we just ran. I apologize. It was period correct, 1973, and it seemed to fit with Halloween. Sorry about that.
Ouch. That's not good.
Well, at least it was a Vauxhall ad with the Vauxhall Griffin in it, but it's a guy dressed up as a griffin. It's got to be what it looks like a Monty Python sketch to me. We need John Cleese ahead of it going, and now for something completely different.
Indeed.
Yep.
That's definitely one of those moments. Yeah, I'm just going to make my way around the lap if we want to show the track from a car point of view. A few.
Let's find you real quick here. There you are. Okay.
So I'll just make my way around, and then I'll give you all a look at the circuit.
Yeah, Jonathan's on the backside now in his HB. That's interesting. You're driving a different car than you were last time. What happened? Did you have a falling out with the Hesketh boys?
Unfortunately, I was only a stand-in driver, and even though I did a decent job, they weren't pleased enough to let me have another go.
That's unfortunate.
So the H1 system signed me for a race and to see what I can do.
Okay.
So going on to the front straight, we're in 5th gear. We'll brake quite early for turn 1. Paddock hill bend, try to get the car balanced and through the turn. Very easy to spin out, try to use a bit of the curb, still in 5th. Brake just under the bridge there, down to 3rd. Try to get the car as close to the curb as possible without touching it. 3rd gear up to 4th down here. Tab on the brake just to try and get the car in. I'm messed that up. Try to get as good of a run as you can down this straight, down into 30s, this left-hander. Try to get the car squared up and brake for the final turn and try to get on the gas as early as possible and get the speed with you down Paddock Hill straight. And that's one very quick, but it's a very quick lap around here. This was a 51 or nearly 52 second lap. The fastest drivers I saw in qualifying did 49 second laps, so you can go a hell of a lot quicker than what I just did.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned how quick the lap is, because these laps will unreel very quickly. What seems like it seems like a lot of laps in these cars, 40, but it's going to go by fairly quickly.
Oh, for sure. It'll be one of those, you go for a few laps, have a bit of fighting, then you think, hold on, how far have we gone in this race? Oh, we're already on lap 35.
I think and granted, I haven't driven this circuit in these cars, but based on what I'm seeing, I would think that one of the real trouble spots, apart from going downhill after the first corner where you are right now, this part of the track just always screws me up. I never know what line to take through there. It's always very disorienting. But going into clearways at the end of the lap and cutting across there, you're suddenly going uphill. Is that kind of disorienting too?
It's not really disorienting, but it's very tricky to get the exact kind of speed where you actually is able to bring the speed with you. Because of the uphill, you think that you can bring a lot of speed with you,
but you can't.
But if you go a bit too quick, then you go over the crest and you have way too much speed and you skitter off anyway.
Then you're off into the left-hand side where you are now.
Yep.
If you carry
right
too much
here.
speed.
Just what I just did. That's the biggest issue right there.
All right, so 2.5 minutes to go until we. I didn't catch who is starting on the pole for this race, but we'll see as soon as we go to the race
Grant
session.
Riddle will be on pole.
Oh,
I noticed he qualified on pole by about half a tenth.
Very interesting. Well, that'll make the opening laps quite interesting. I'm using the word interesting too often. It could be fascinating. There we go.
That's a good choice of word.
I'm losing my perspicacity, whatever they call it. And while we have a second, a lot of you are probably aware, having looked on the forum, of the seismic shifts that are about to happen in our sim racing world. There's basically the team that currently runs HSO day to day is leaving to work exclusively in the International Sim Racing Organization. HSO will be continuing next year under a completely different team. Different from what has been done before. The core team that is responsible for HSO racing is moving to ISO. So it caught some people by surprise. Those of us who were behind the scenes knew that it was coming, but I gotta say, at least so far, there's been limited drama, and people seem to be taking it in stride, which is good.
Indeed. They...
And for those of you who haven't seen, at ISO, we have put up our full schedule. Well, not the full schedule, but just a preview of what is going to be the next year. My only real involvement from running the league standpoint will be as the chief play-by-play announcer.
And I'll probably be a backup play-by-play or color commentator where applicable. Similarly to what we've been doing this year, I'll probably be covering the American-based series.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we've got zeros on the clock.
Be interesting. Yep, 0 on the clock. We'll be moving over very shortly to the race session.
And when we hear that silence, that usually means we're going over to the next one. Yep. 40 laps, yes, for this first race. Grant Riddle on the pole. So we'll wait for him to get to the grid. He usually likes to take the grid at the very last minute. Probably to just...
What?
What's going on?
Strange. Did we... do you remember if we had an update somewhere with the cars?
I wouldn't know. I'm just calling it. Uh-oh. Are we restarting the warm up?
Unfortunately, there was a vehicle collision mismatch for David Junt.
Uh-oh.
And I noticed also that some others were having troubles with some kind of game fault with the DLC track thingy.
So where does this leave us?
We'll wait for just a few moments, see if logs comes back in. I would expect him to be checking the threads to see if there's any updates he missed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
If he doesn't come back in a half minute or thereabouts, so at 8:30, we'll go on to start race 1.
Oh boy, technical issues are so much fun.
Okay, no mismatch call.
Okay, how do we look now?
So far, so good. I'm just going to have to wait for another 10 to 20 seconds just to make sure if anyone drops.
Okay. All right, Grant is on the grid now.
And we're okay to go.
All right, so we're going to go on our parade lap for this first race. 40 laps around the Indy version of Brands Hatch. Revs climb in the Brian Henton machine of Grant Riddall, and off he goes on the parade lap. On the pole, Grant Riddall in the Brian Henton entry, STP number 23. Second place, the championship leader, David Yunt, in the first of the Alpines. Starting third, Cesarius Lipinski. Fourth, Alberto Aquino, who is driving the other Alpine. That's interesting. Starting fifth, we have Ray Riddall in a March. Sixth, Jason Whitehead, Moto Defense Mondial, which is a Martini. Seventh, David Saber. Eighth, Steve Parker. Ninth, Adam Hackman. 10th, Dana Schurer. 11th, Mick Chapman. 12th, Matias Estrella. 13th, Michael Griffiths. 14th, Dave Miller. 15th, Gerard Rion. 16th, Jakob Fredriksson. 17th, Bruno Chacon. 18th, Jonatan Acerclinth. 19th, Victor Elsecker. 20th, Mato Small. 21st, Philippe Martinelli. Good to see him on the grid. 22nd, Karel Markanizen. 23rd, Hansa Mild. 24th, Luis Almeida. 25th, Greg Delacella, and that is your grid. Wanted to get through it quickly because we're already coming up onto the front straight here. You can see David Yunt there scrubbing in his tires, so is Grant Riddall. It'll be very, very critical for... and call me crazy, but I don't believe I saw Tiago Canola in that list.
No, I think he... Isn't he here?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing him as I went through the grid.
That's unfortunate if he's not. I can't remember if I've seen him or not.
Well, starter's orders now, so too late for that. Here we go. Ready?
2 lights.
And the race is underway. Good getaway from Grant Ridal. As they come heading down the hill now into the hairpin. David Yunt on the outside trying to sweep by. It looks like he might have a shot here, but they're coming into... Yes, he has! He has gotten by. David Yunt is in the lead. Grant Ridal second. We're watching the cars go around Druids for the first time. Oh, goodness, we got one car running wide there. But overall, it appears everybody's doing okay. Yes, Yunt leads. Grant Ridal is in second. Schlapinski is in third. As they come up to clearways for the first time. To cross the line, and David Yunt, if indeed Tiago is not here, that would be... It would certainly lend itself to the scenario that possibly sees David wrapping up the championship this evening. We'll see. Cars exiting the final turn, coming onto the main straight. Uh-oh, one car going off onto the grass there. It's Alameda. So Grant has got David in his sights here, so it's a question of not letting him get away. David had an excellent start, was able to sweep by on the outside. That shows the kind of skill level that he's been displaying throughout the year in this series. Through clearways, Schlapinski third. Ray Ridal is fourth. Fifth, Steve Parker. Sixth, Alberto Aquino. Interesting to see the variety of lines of cars coming through the final corner here.
It's all down to what you prefer. I think it's very much open to interpretation.
Oh, we have a report from Richard Wilkes in the chat that Canola gave up his car, and if that's the case, that's incredible because it basically, I mean, if that's the case, it would more or less hand the championship to Yunt. My goodness,
it would indeed, and we had a bit of a crash coming out of Druids.
Yes, Mick Chapman appears to have had an issue. Let's take a look at a replay of this. This is at Druids. Chapman heading into the corner. It looks like he might have... Oh, yes! There it is. There's a car spinning, and there's contact there. My goodness, let's run that back. The car that was actually spinning out ahead of that appears to have been... I can't quite identify who that is. It's a yellow car. But the net result was that Mick Chapman lost his rear wing. That's really unfortunate. And here he is coming in. This is a live picture coming into the pits.
Very unfortunate indeed, but that's one of the troubles with the circuit. It's very tight, very little room if someone makes a mistake or you make a mistake yourself for you to go anywhere.
Oh, we have another incident. Greg Delacella spinning around on the backside of the course. Looks like he's keeping it going, but he's going to have to be careful. He doesn't want to get hit by anybody as he turns around. That's a march that he's driving. Chapman still in the pits. Oh no, Grant Ridal has spun the car! Unbelievable! In Druids! Grant Ridal spins! He's trying to get going again, but it's really dangerous here because there's all these cars coming around the corner and he doesn't want to get involved in an incident. He's trying to do a three-point turn in the grass. My goodness, that's a tall order. Another car goes off. That's Dave Miller. But it doesn't appear to be any worse for wear. Grant finally rejoins. Incredible. Let's have a look. Oh my, he got involved with David Yunt. That's what precipitated this. Here's the replay. They come into Druids. Grant Riddall on the inside. He loses control of the car. The back end slides. He taps. I don't know if he actually... Okay, he might have had a little bit of contact with David, but David's able to continue with no problem. That was an incident that was started by Grant on his own. It had nothing to do with David Yunt. He loses the back end, just taps David Yunt, and looks like he made slight contact with the barrier. So that's devastating for Grant Riddall. Then he has all sorts of trouble trying to get going again, and give him credit for not panicking and running back onto the circuit just because he can, because he could have clipped somebody. But that's incredibly bad luck. It looks like the back end just broke loose. And he's now running in 20th place, right behind Carol Markinez, who's driving your old car, Jonathan.
Yep. It's a bit of a handful car, but if you treat it right, it'll be nice to you.
My goodness, people all over the place here. Grant.
Unfortunately, Martinelli had a spin in front of me.
Yeah, he did.
I pushed him into that mistake.
Oops.
I've been sitting behind him for a few laps.
So we have some other retirements. Fredrickson out of the race. Dalcella out of the race. Mick Chapman still in the pits trying to get his car repaired. So Yunt continuing to lead. Slapinski is now in second place after the incident that befell Grant Riddall. Slapinski himself has had quite a good year in these cars. He's been on the pole a few times, which is great to see. So the question is going to be, can he keep David Yunt in sight? Tall order, given who it is he's chasing. Oh, David Yunt has a bit of a loose moment in the in Druids. So, and that looked suspiciously familiar. That looked familiar. Looked kind of like what happened to Grant Riddall. So maybe this is something that people are going to be struggling with as the tires start to get worn.
Definitely a possibility. This track really eats up the right side tires because of the high speed turns that you take in. Because left-hand tires take a lot of beating because of all the right-handers that are high speed.
Meanwhile, we have an excellent scrap for third place right now between Steve Parker and Alberto Aquino, but it's really kind of a three-car battle because David Saber is directly behind Alberto Aquino. Looking from Alberto Aquino's car right now. You pronounce his name Aunio or something like that. I'm never sure. I usually call him Little Al just to be safe. So you can see there, just looking behind him, how close David Saber is. David might be actually going to attempt a pass here in a second. Jason Whitehead following behind him. And then a little further back, you can see Adam Hackman. Saber looking up the inside. Oh, he actually makes a tiny bit of contact with the right rear of Little Al, but doesn't seem to cause any damage. Looked like just a grazing hit to me. So Little Al is the proverbial meat in the sandwich here between Steve Parker and David Saber. As they head into Druids one more time, you could throw a blanket over the three of them. And yeah, Al is definitely looking for a way to get by here. Oh my goodness, is that you, Jonathan, on the inside there?
Yep.
No, it looks like you've lost your rear wing. That's bad news. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's just one of those things. I half was the cause of a spin for another driver. Tried to wait for him to get by. It stayed off the line, but unfortunately someone else thought that was the line they wanted to take, and that's it. So yeah, we'll just try to repair and see what happens.
So it's now lap 11 out of 40. Oh, here comes David Saber up the inside. Looks like he's going to try to get by. He just can't get it done. But now, look at this. Jason Whitehead looks like he's going to try to take advantage. That's an interesting series of corners, Druids and the following ones, because you basically get set up for the next corner based on how good you do in the previous one. Now, David Saber is under attack from Jason Whitehead. in the Martini. Oh, David Saber gets way out of shape as they enter clearways. Let's see if that gives Whitehead the chance to take him going down the hill here. It certainly looks like he has the ability to do so. Yes, Whitehead is alongside. As they head into this right-hander, you would think that he'd be able to maintain the position. Yes, Jason Whitehead goes up to 5th place. Very well executed, very opportunistic, and now he's having to protect the inside to make sure that he keeps the position at Druids. David doing a great job fighting back on the outside, but he's going to have to give it up here, yes. So, great piece of driving by Jason Whitehead. Now, if you look behind this group, there's another battle going on between Adam Hackman and Ray Radal. As they head into clearways again, Saber just ahead of them trying to get some grip. Looks like Hackman running a bit wide there. This could be a duplicate of the overtake we just saw with the other two cars. Indeed, it looks like it will be. Here comes Ray on the inside. And he overtakes Adam Hackman to go up to 7th place. We'll see if he can make it stick. He can as they go down the hill. So lots of good overtaking in the early part of this race as they head into Druids again. They were all moving up one position. Alberto Aquino still glued right in the very back of Steve Parker as they head into clearways once again. Al is not really in a position to challenge him at this point. Although he certainly has a head of steam. Look at how much he's closing there. Heading into this downhill section before Druids. Using lots of curb there, Steve. I mean, that's generally the fast way around that corner into Druids Bend. And it appears that Schlapinski and Yunt have basically broken away from this group. And there's about a 2-second gap between the two of them. But it's, let's see, if we look at David Yunt, here he is. Here's Schlapinski about 2 seconds back. And then it's a 12-second gap back to Steve Parker in 3rd, with Al Aquino in 4th just behind him. So Schlapinski does not have, he's not lost too much ground to David Yunt. It looks like he's right there with him. Well, not with him, but he can still see him. It doesn't like David is streaking away. It looks like they're coming up on a bunch of lapped cars, or cars that are about to be lapped, so that could pose an opportunity for Schlapinski. All it would take is a miscue of one back marker to cause Schlapinski to close up. He's in shouting distance. So we'll have to watch closely and see what happens. Parker seems to be pulling out a bit of a gap now on Al. And Al is now starting to come under attack a little bit from Jason Whitehead. Oh, goodness, Hackman has run off the course. And that gives David Saber back a position. Hackman is down to 8th. Let's have a replay of that, see what precipitated this. This is a replay. They're on the backside of the course. Hackman entering... Maybe he had exactly the problem that we were talking about earlier with Jonatan. Yeah, he just carries too much speed into the corner and gets onto the kitty litter. And there goes David by. So Hackman back down to 8th place now.
And the battle I my way past just a little bit before I ended up in trouble myself is still going on between Bruno Shackman and Michael Griffiths for 12th and 13th.
Oh yes, this is a great
Michael
battle.
Griffiths now looking upside down, going down the front stretch.
Yeah, excellent battle. Griffiths, actually, that was the car that was involved with Mick Chapman earlier. Mick coming around. Oh goodness. Michael Griffiths getting all the way sideways. Chacon getting ahead of him here by the time they get to Druids. Coming out of the corner. Let's see if Chacon can maintain the position. This is, again, a battle for 12th place. Oh, no! Griffith spins the car! Griffith spins! No!
At least he didn't hit the barriers.
Yeah, he didn't hit the barriers. Alsaker will go up to 13. So it appears that Griffiths has got a loose car, to put it mildly. He doesn't seem to be having as much grip as others. He's definitely struggling to keep the car going straight. And we're not even at half distance, so as the tires wear down, it could get worse for Michael. We'll see what happens. Chacon in 12th. Gerarion 11th. Here's Dana Schurer back with us again. We've missed Dana for quite a while, but she's back driving in this series in 10th place. Those of you who have seen Dana on HSO races before know of her prowess.
Oh, Alberto Aquino spun off.
Oh, no! He did. He seems to have recovered, but he's now in 6th place. Replay. He was right with Steve Parker, so apparently this... Well, we'll wait for the replay. I don't want to speculate. He goes into the clearways. Yeah, I figured this was a corner that was going to bite people. Comes into it. Yeah, carries a bit too much speed and spins the car around, but luckily... Oh, man, he backed it into the barrier to avoid getting hit by somebody. He comes around and he's back in the race now, but 6th place now. So that's unfortunate. He was challenging for 2nd.
But right behind him now, he has Hackman and Grant Widall, and Grant Widall looking for a move on Hackman.
Wow, Grant is all the way up to 8th now after falling all the way down to 20th in early laps. That's amazing, that level of recovery. Yeah, he is now right with Adam Hackman, so we'll see if he can take him on this lap. He certainly has the speed to do so, as we are now at about the halfway point of the race. Grant checks up the car, thinks better of trying to pass Adam on this downhill section. Adam Hackman so nearly won the Quaker State 500 last Sunday. He was beaten at the very end by Richard Wilkes. A very tense situation there in the final laps of the race.
Was indeed, but it seemed like both of them were okay-ish with the situation as such. It's one of those situations that can happen at an oval, as Grant now has a fantastic run.
Yes, he has a really good run now. Grant up the inside. He is now 6th. See if he can maintain the position. Sweeps to the outside to protect from having Hackman go up the outside. Downhill now. Yes, he definitely has solidified the position. Now Hackman is under attack from David Saber.
Yes, indeed, and just behind is Dana Schurer that you were talking about just before.
Yep, there she is.
Told you about Alberto. Doing a good job, her first race, I believe, in these cars. So.
Well, Dana is known as an oval racing expert, but she certainly has road racing skills too, and she's proving it here at 9th place in this, and she hasn't had much practice in these cars.
But to be somewhat fair, I think Brands Hatch is probably one of the best. As I say that, she has a bit of a loose moment. One of the best places for an oval expert to have their first race in these cars, because you can somewhat get away with setting it up as an oval car because of all the right-handers that are around this track.
But it's basically backwards. Oh no, David Saber is on the grass. Doesn't look like he lost a lot of speed. Looks like he's going to be all right, but that definitely is going to give... it's definitely going to give some breathing room to Hackman. Yes, he's streaked away. And Dana didn't seem to close too much in that incident, so David's lucky to still be in 8th place, I think. Parker 3rd. Schlapinski is in 2nd. Here comes David Yunt to lap Dave Miller. Dave getting over to the right-hand side, trying to make some room. Well, now he's back on the left-hand side, but he... and the gap between Yunt and Schlapinski, it's remaining relatively constant. It's 2 seconds. Yeah, you can see Schlapinski just behind there. So the traffic does not appear to have been affecting either of them appreciably in the last few laps. So we'll see if tire wear starts to play a role. Meanwhile, here's Steve Parker looking to put a lap on Karel Markinizzen. He's got him on the outside there, but... well, looks like, is Karel going to let him by? Yeah, he finally does. Whited is solidly in 4th. 5th is Ray Riddall. 6th, Grant Riddall. So Grant is going to be coming in contact with his dad in a minute here. Kudos to Grant for not letting his error earlier in the race compound and he's still going, because it's very easy for that to happen in a race, especially when you're expecting so much of yourself with the starting position you have, to make a mistake and then compound it with additional mistakes. But he didn't do that. He kept his cool, got back on the track in a safe fashion, and now he's reaping the rewards of that by getting all the way back up into the top 6.
Very much so. He's definitely one of the stronger drivers mentally, I'd say, in terms of keeping head in the game, as some would call it, I suppose.
Oh goodness, Jason Whited spins in clearways, doesn't hit anything. Aquino, I think, is a casualty there as well. Got slowed up a bit. So it looks like I called it, I guess, that it would be a place where a lot of people get bit, and it's certainly turning out to be that way. Let's look at a replay of that again. Coming into the corner. Oh yeah, he just got it all wrong. Something was strange there. It looks like there was another car off at the same time. Let's look. No, I'm looking at a pace car. Sorry. Okay.
On Alberto, Aquino has unfortunately decided to park the car.
Oh, that's too bad.
I noticed he was struggling with the car. Don't know if he picked up some damage after we saw him spin off, or
he might have picked up some damage. Perhaps. Okay, so Grant is now right with his dad, and he's in 5th place after Whited's spin.
When he sets the quickest lap of the race so far.
Yeah, he's definitely flying, no question about it. If climbing from 20th to 5th in a few laps wasn't evidence enough. Here he goes up the inside of his dad to go up to 4th place. He's just charging back through this field. Fantastic performance from Grant Riddall. The red mist, combined with his skill in these cars, paying dividends.
Indeed, as David Junt with a new fastest lap of the race. Boys, we have a big crash!
Whoa!
Not sure who that is, I'll try to find out.
Oh goodness, it's
Hansa
Mild!
Hansa Mild, unfortunately.
Hansa Mild has had an accident. Replay. He's on the grass here. This is...
I think someone will have spun in front. Yes, there is the number 61 car. Oh, and complete T-bone, unfortunately, and Steve Parker just about avoids it.
Oh, yes! Unfortunately, you're right. T-bone, anyone? Ugh. He had nowhere to go there. I mean, I suppose he could have run on the grass, but he's a bit unsighted. Oh, I see. The car lurched forward a little bit. He probably thought that he could skate by on the inside, but the car moved. So, my goodness.
Unfortunately, it was Felipe Martinelli who was the spinner. Really bad luck for both of them.
Well, Mild is in the pits trying to get repairs, but he's lost a wheel, so I'm thinking that's probably it.
Possibly, yeah. Felipe Martinelli retired on the spot, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
And with all the lap traffic as well, David Junt has increased his lead to almost 4 seconds now.
Oh, he has, you're right. So that's double what it was before.
Oh, and Grant already up to third.
Oh, goodness. So, yeah, the question now will be, my goodness, in just the space of time we went to look at that incident, he's already passed Steve Parker. So now the question will be, how quickly can he close on Ślepinski? I think it's probably a bit wishful thinking to think that he would be able to challenge for the win. But I don't know, 20th to 3rd. He doesn't have Ślepinski in sight yet. But
it's 19.5 seconds, so it will be a tall order.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall order, but a fantastic recovery.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So, I mean, even with Canola not physically in this race, he technically still is in the championship. Because there's nothing saying he couldn't arrive back in the series with another car and compete again. But mathematically, all that David has to do is get over 185 points. And if he wins this race, that's 20 right there. So then all he needs to do is get 15 points in the following race, and he's the champion.
Indeed. That would be, I believe, 3rd place. Thereabouts.
Grant still having a bit of trouble keeping the car underneath him in Druids.
Looks like the closest battle on track at the moment is between Saber and Hackman for 8th and 7th.
The gap between Grant and Ślepinski is actually increasing. It's now 21 seconds. So it's not going the direction that Grant would want it to.
Indeed not, unfortunately, but even so, from 20th to 3rd, that's definitely a very good effort indeed. Oh, Saber cuts turn 1 at Paddock Hill a little bit, but keeps the car underneath him and continues chasing Hackman.
Yep, Saber is caught between Hackman here, and Dana Schur is just a little ways behind this. Well, there she is. She's got a car between them. So Saber looking to set up Hackman here at some point. Another yellow flag in this corner. Looks like someone's had an incident. There's smoke.
The red car on the infield, was that Parker possibly?
It is Steve Parker. Steve Parker has had an incident of sorts. My goodness, and he's all the way down to 6th place. Let's have a replay of this, since it's a significant development. He was in 3rd place. Same spot. Same spot in coming into the final corner. Just the back end turned around, but he was able to make a pretty decent recovery. But man, there were so many cars that streamed by after that. Yeah, now he's down to 7th place.
Make that 6th. He just took the position back.
Well, yeah. Now he's caught in the middle of this battle we were just watching prior to this with Adam Hackman. Oh, yellow flag again in Clearways. Good grief! Just one after the other here. Yeah, smoke up here. It looks like another car off. But looks like the recovery happened before we arrived.
May have been Matthias Estrela.
Possibly. And here comes David Saber looking up the inside of Adam Hackman as they cross the line. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Saber gets by. Looks like Hackman's going to try to counterattack going into Druids. He thinks better of it. You can see how they're sawing at the wheels at this point. I think there's it's fair to say the cars are a bit more of a handful now than they were a bit ago.
Certainly, but race car drivers are paid to be able to drive in all kind of situations.
My goodness, Adam Hackman with bags of opposite lock. Just trying to keep the car going, and that gives David Saber the chance to streak away, so that pads his 7th place for the moment.
Indeed, but really impressive to see Hackman working in the car. It wasn't quick, but it's impressive to see him hold the car all together, because if you get that crossed up, it's very easy to lose the car.
Saber closing in now on Parker, who's obviously had a eventful series of laps prior to this. And he's got Matthias Estrella right in front of him. And we have, this time by 4 laps, well, 5 really to go. 36, 7, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40.
Saber running a lot of wing on his car, I reckon. He really attacked into Hackman, and I thought he'd lose the car, but he held on.
It's coming around there. It's in Druids as well. It appears that, this could be an opportunity for him. Parker is caught up behind Matthias Estrella, hasn't been able to get by. Saber definitely closing as a result. We'll see if Parker gets bottled up behind him at Clearways here. He does. He would have wanted to get by there, but Matthias didn't give him room. I think now he's seen what's going on. He pulls off, but he's already given the Christmas gift to David by letting him get closer. I don't think he'll be getting a fruit basket from Parker. Here they come down to Druids once again. I don't think there's a chance for David here, but he certainly has closed in a lot. Parker struggling to keep the car underneath him as they exit Druids.
I believe David will make the move up here at Clearways.
He certainly is. He's certainly hounding Parker. There's no question about that. Two guys that have had a mixed bag of sorts for 2019, driving wise. I think both of them, they've had the potential to do well, but haven't always had the results they would like.
Indeed, but very happy.
Oh, no! David Saber is spun. He just got onto the kitty litter, I think it was a combination of that and the curb, and that was enough to send him around. My goodness. I think the adverse camber of that downhill section probably didn't help either. Let's take a look at the replay of what happened here. As they come through this section, this is the first time we see someone really truly get bit by this corner. And here it is. Saber goes onto the grass right there. That's all it takes to send the car spinning. He goes into the infield. Thankfully, there's plenty of room there. He doesn't hit anything. And he's able to keep the car going. But, man, that's frustrating.
For sure. I was just about to say about, Dave Miller, unfortunately, I noticed has retired.
Oh, no. Mrs. Dave will not be happy about that.
But I was going to say that Steve Parker had a really good event at Österreichring in the STW.
Yes, he did. That is true.
Most recently. First time in that series where he's, I believe, been able to survive the opening couple of laps, and immediately was up in the top 3 fighting for podiums, and he also took the win in the feature race, second race, to score, I believe he scored 80 total of not 80, so 20 or 70, so 77 points in one meeting. That's about 7 or 8 times what he scored before in the whole championship. So
we're looking at a David Yunt has won the race apparently. We lost track of
hearing me
what was going on. I was so enraptured by this chopper shot that we had here. So David Yunt has won the race and collected 20 points. Let's see. Second place, I believe, is Lipinski. Yes.
Well,
third,
Grant made a mistake.
He did, but here comes Ray Rodal to the line to take third. Fourth will be Jason Whited. That's impressive considering the incident he had earlier. Grant finishes fifth. Sixth is Steve Parker. Seventh, Adam Hackman. Eighth, Danish Schurer. Ninth, David Saber. So Sabre had another position loss there. 10th is Gerarion. I think he had just parked it a second ago. Griffiths is 11th. 12th is Chacon. 13th, Victor Alsaker. 14th, Matthias Estrella. 14th, Matthias Estrella. 15th, Markin Izen. 16th, Matos Mall in the pits. 17th, Miller, who was a retirement. Mick Chapman, 18th, and the rest we have are DNFs as well. Hansa Mild, Martinelli, Alberto, Jonatan, sorry about that, Alameda, Fredrickson, and Delacella 25th, as Chapman pulls into the garage.
And my apologies to Louis Almeida. I think he was the one who ended up hitting me. That was probably my fault for trying to go slowly off the racing line, but I may not have been completely off the line where I was, so it is what it is.
It is what it is. So that was the first race, and I'm going to create a points chart based on what just transpired, and we'll see if we can have an updated points spread to look at when we come back for the next race. So everybody take a breather. We'll be back in just a little bit for the second race of the evening from Brands Hatch. See you in a bit.
You know me. I'm the Griffin on all the Vauxhalls, the beautiful Vauxhalls. Like this new limited edition Ventura, the VIP for very important people like me. This special Victor, loaded with practical things for practical people like me. It's going to be a beautiful summer. Beavers will abound. Estates will bloom like flowers. And it's all going to happen at your Vauxhall dealers. Visit him, you really must. Have a beautiful summer in a beautiful Vauxhall.
Welcome back, everybody. So qualifying session is underway for race number 2. And we have to bring to everyone's attention the point situation. And I'm afraid our statistician may have made a mathematical error prior. Easy for anyone to make, so that's not a diss on you, Jonathan. Sorry. So here is the current points situation. David Yunt, having just won the previous race, now is 170 points. Tiago Canola has 85 points. Grant Riddall is in third with 69 points. Ray Riddall. Hang on.
Welcome back.
There we go. Jonathan, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, well, I was explaining to our viewers that I think the tabulation earlier about the point situation was not accurate.
Wasn't?
No, it was not. There were actually... David Yunt was not as close to scoring the championship as it appeared. So,
drop scores or something in this championship?
No drops. No, it's not drop scores. I think you might have totaled up the points slightly wrong, but that's okay. I could have just as easily done it. So David Yunt now is 170 points. Tiago Canola is in second with 85. Grant Riddall is in third with 69 points. Ray Riddall, his dad, has 58, and Austin Johnson, even though he left the series long ago, is still in fifth with 48 points. So here's the current situation. The maximum points that Tiago can amass is 205 remaining in the season. He has 85 points right now, and there are 120 points that he could amass in the subsequent events. We have 5 left to go, one of them being a double points event. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80, plus the 40 that you would score for the final win, making 120. 120 plus 180, 120 plus 85 is 205. So David needs to amass over 205 points, so more than 35 points during the remaining events. So he's not going to win the championship tonight, based on those statistics.
My apologies then.
No. I often say that if I would have been an engineer if I knew numbers, so
I clearly don't, so...
Well, what I mean is it's just as likely I could have made that error. So no harm done. I just wanted to make sure everyone knew what... I mean, I would certainly take this over him winning the championship and us not being aware of it.
Indeed.
So, yeah, looking at the schedule itself, we have the round 9 was just done, so now we have round 10, 11, 12, and 13, which are all 20 points maximum for a win. So that's 20, 40, 60, 80. And then the final round at Brands, which is double points, is 40. So you're adding 40 points to 80, and that's 120. Possible, if he won everything. That's even assuming he enters. So, added to the 85 is 205. So, with that cleared up, let's see. It appears the qualifying session is over, and David Yunt is on the pole, with Grant Ridall in second, Schlapinski third, Aquino is fourth, David Saber fifth, Steve Parker sixth, seventh is Ray Ridall, eighth is Dave Miller, ninth Mick Chapman, 10th Gerard Rion. You've lined up 11th, Jonathan. That's good.
Should be 12th. Jason White had dropped just before we moved over, so.
Oh, I see.
He's somewhere inside the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Not really sure where though, so I have to ask him in case he doesn't end up where he should be for.
All right, so we're going to the warm-up session now. Another look at the track map itself. I've since updated this to reflect what the laps are going to be for this race. It's race number 10 in this series, 30 laps. This is going to be a shorter one. And that means there's less time to make advances through the field, so we may be seeing even more crazy action this time. And the bulk of it definitely was happening in the clearways section. So we'll see what happens going into the round number 10. Coming up at HSO, we have the next round of the STW Series 1995, and that's going to be on Wednesday, October 23rd at Hockenheim. Looking forward to that race. Hopefully it won't be the crash fest that the real race was. And then
Sadly.
Over at the International Sim Racing Organization, we have the Race of Champions 1971 F1. This is an open race at ISO, Sunday, November 3rd at 2000 hours CET. So cars are heading out now, I believe, for their warm-up session. Yes, Alameda is already on the track in his BP-sponsored martini. So, I would wager that Grant is going to try to make good on his good starting position this time. He's not on the pole, but he's right up on front.
Sorry, I was typing. What did you say?
No, just saying that this is a chance for Grant to redeem himself after the previous race. I mean, it was a big charge from the back of the pack, but obviously he would have liked to have won that one.
Sure, and as I say, first row. Outstarting anyone in these cars is tricky, but Grant certainly had the pace in the race to be up there, so I wouldn't be surprised if he at least gives David a good run for first place.
Yeah, based on his performance prior to the end of the race, of course. Yeah, I mean, imagine how he would have done if he had been up front with that pace.
Indeed.
So, Jonathan, you've had a chance to see the International Sim Racing Organization schedule for 2020. What are your impressions of that schedule?
It'll certainly be an interesting one. The F191s in AMS will certainly test our drivers' ability to drive fast while keeping the tires under the cars. From the little testing I've done and what I read from others testing, The cars take a very neat driving style to make them work, but if you get them to work, they will pay off very nicely for you in terms of both speed and tire wear. Then of course we have the USACs, which surely will be a fantastic series. We did the earlier years, I think, was it 78s, if I remember correctly, we're looking at?
Not sure I know what you're referring to.
Am I just being... Sorry, I can't. I'm a little bit meh. But I also remember we have the Australian Super Touring Championship, which will certainly be a stonker for sure. Where we will have Peugeots, Alfa Romeos, BMWs, Audis. I believe there's... I don't think there are Nissans, but we have Opels and Holdens. We have the Hyundais. There should be one more that I can't remember. And we have the Hondas. So there will certainly be a lot of close action there on tracks that we have used before, especially with the Touring Car Legends mod, where we've done a few Australian-based series. But these Super Touring cars will for sure provide even closer racing and hopefully some fantastic fun. And of course we have the creme de la creme in the championship with a single driver event at the end, the way we are planning it, with Bathurst.
Oh yes, I'm going to be looking forward to that. Barry Lynn has pointed out in the YouTube chat that we are not mentioning Kart 88. That is true. We have the next Kart 88 series race coming up at Elkhart Lake. And that should be October 27th. So that'll be coming before we get to that ISO race. So yes, we don't want to forget about that championship, which is still going on. And Elkhart Lake, no matter what series you're running, that's a fun track to drive.
I tend to disagree, but then again, that track doesn't suit my driving style, so one of those situations, I suppose.
I think it suits the 88 Indy cars because it's very much a high-speed circuit, and the cars perform their best when they're at high speed. So,
I just don't enjoy the start stop.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, looking forward to a year of turning left in 70s Indy cars. And for those of you who say, "Oh, turning left all the time isn't for me," well, we got other series you can run, and plus in the in that USAC series, you turn right at Trenton. So,
if only for a small kink, but it's still one right-hand turn.
Yeah. So if it's a 100-lap race where you're turning right 100 times, so there you go. Also, when you exit a pit box, you have to turn right.
Right. Especially if you have another car in front of you hitting at the same time.
Here's that lovely chopper shot again, showing David Yunt. This shows really well how that downhill section affects the cars before you get to Druids.
Definitely one of those. You want to have the weight on the left of the car. It's just that if you get it a bit too far, too much weight on the left side of the car, because of the way the track drops away, it just breaks loose on you. Especially happens in qualifying when you're pushing a little bit harder, but you can still feel it in the race, and we saw it quite a few times. I know Dana Shure, for example, had a big loose through Paddock Hill Bend.
David has missed the pit entrance, and he's deciding now what he wants to do. He's kind of stuck between the two. He's backing up now, looking for... Oh, he's... Okay. Be careful. You don't want to get Dairy Queened. There he goes. Now he's... All right, so a little less than 2 minutes to go here before we start the next round. I'll be really interested to see the start of this one because I'm sure Grant's going to be really keen to get to that first corner before or get to Druids before David Yunt.
Certainly so, and also interesting in this warm-up session. Granted, not everyone is possibly running at the top-end pace, but Alberto Jr. is top of the pile in the times at the moment. Very impressive indeed.
All right, so the clock has run out now, so we'll be going to the racing session in just a moment.
Just waiting for the final cars to come around. And yes, Jason Whited will be starting from 5th position.
I'm glad he was able to get back in.
And I do know Jacob Fredriksson will be a no-show for race 2. He has unfortunately been sick for past week and simply don't have the strength to concentrate on the driving. So sorry to hear that, Jacob, but I hope you'll be feeling well very soon indeed.
Yeah, same here. Get well soon. All right, so here comes the next race, 30 laps. On the pole, David Yunt, series leader in the first of the Alpines. Second, Grant Riddall, who was the pole sitter in the previous race. Brian Henton car, number 23. Third, Shazarius Slapinski. So it's the same players up front that we were used to seeing in the first race. Fourth, Al Aquino, nice starting position for him. Fifth, Jason Whited. Sixth, David Saber. Seventh, Steve Parker. Eighth, Ray Riddall. Ninth, Dave Miller. Hopefully Dave will have better luck in this race. 10th, Nick Chapman. 11th, Gerard Rion. 12th, Jonatan Acerclinth. 13th, Adam Hackman. 14th, Michael Griffiths. 15th, Matthias Estrella. 16th, Bruno Chacon. 17th, Victor Alsaker. 18th, Matos Mall. 19th, Philippe Martinelli. 20th, Hansa Mild. 21st, Luis Almeida. 22nd, Carol Markinizin. 23rd, Greg Delacella. And those are the starters for the second race for the evening. Apparently 2 cars not taking the start. One of them probably Fredriksson.
I believe the other may be Dana Schurer, unless she...
Yes, that's right. I didn't see Dana. All right, so cars are coming up to the start line. We are under starter's orders already. Watch for the lights. And the race is underway. David Yunt looks like he's weaving just a bit off the line. Oh, goodness. Slapinski is up with Grant Riddall. Looks like he's challenging for second place already. As they come down the hill, it is definitely David Yunt in the lead. Slapinski challenging, but no, Grant Riddall is going to be in second for the time being as everybody's coming through. There's final cars going through into... Oh my goodness, yeah, Grant is definitely keen to not let David Yunt get away as they head up to clearways for the first time. Yunt leads. Grant Riddall second. Everybody seems to be behaving themselves on this first lap. No hargy-bargy. As they come through the start-finish area for the first time. Grant doing his absolute best to stay with David Yunt. As they come into Druids for the second time. Remember, this race is 10 laps shorter than the previous one, so there's less time to advance your position. And Grant is most definitely hanging with our series leader. Slapinski solidly in second. Little Al is in fourth, so he's had a good start. Fifth, Jason Whited. Sixth, Steve Parker. Seventh is Dave Miller. Eighth, David Saber. Ninth, Ray Riddall. And 10th is Johnny Aces.
Just about.
Yep.
Had a three-wide moment going into Surtees that time around.
Yeah, you got a bunch of cars behind you here, so I'll let you focus on that. Oh, and here's Ray Riddall looking up the inside of David Saber. So already some people taking some stabs at the cars in front of them. Yunt continues to lead. Heading to the clearways. Grant Riddall is in second. Slapinski third. Aquino fourth. Jason Whited fifth. Parker sixth. Miller in seventh. And here we have a battle with Ray Riddall and David Saber. Very close quarters. Heading down for Druids. We'll see if Dave Miller is able to... I'm sorry, if Dave Saber is able to get by. God, using every inch of the circuit. David looks up the inside for a brief moment, but oh, he's on the outside here going into the next corner. That's could work for him. Now, I've seen that work sometimes in the past where you set up for the next corner by how you exit Druids. Ray having a slightly slower exit here, so it looks like David is definitely sizing him up. These are two marches, so the equipment is relatively the same. The engines might have different performance, though, as not all the cars are tuned by the same people. And you can see Dave Miller just ahead of this group in 7th place. Oh, goodness. Miller had a bit of a moment there, and he lost 2 positions. How did that happen? Let's take a look at that. Looks like he just lost his footing for a moment. Yeah, he did. He ran onto the kitty litter there. Yeah, and just lost momentum. That's unfortunate. Grant is really working hard to stay with David, but David is starting to pull out a bit of a gap. Saber still attacking at the back of Ray Radal. Ray swings a bit wide coming out of clearways. This could be an opportunity for David to move up to 7th. We'll see. Accelerating through the start-finish area. Lots of opposite lock heading down into Druids here. You can see Steve Parker just ahead of these two. Further back in the field now, see what other battles are here. Oh, we've got a good one here between Matias Estrella and Philippe Martinelli. This is a battle for 15th place. Heading into clearways. Matias Estrella definitely tiptoeing through there. Maybe slightly gun-shy after the first race this evening.
I believe he had a few moments in there, so...
Yeah, he did. Saber's still working on the back of Ray Radal. Ray gets a little bit onto the grass there, but doesn't seem to lose too much momentum. And Saber just... These cars evidently are very evenly matched drivers, too. Oh, goodness. He might have a shot here coming into Druids. No. Not quite. Oh, meanwhile, it looks like Shazarius is starting to close a little bit on Grant for second. So... Oh, and Yunt is... looks like he lost a bit of time. So... yeah, Grant's definitely... Well, it looks like it's about the same. It was just a forced perspective there. But given how Grant and Slapinski... Oh, we got a yellow flag in this area. Not sure what that's about.
Victor Alcocer, possibly.
Oh, might be something on the backside of the course, as Grant is definitely closing on David. He closed up a great deal in Druids just then. Looks like David is suffering from overheating tires, perhaps. The car is definitely squirrely in the back. Heading into clearways once again. Yeah, oh my goodness, his car is definitely loose. Too bad Grant wasn't in a situation there to really take advantage of it. But Grant is very definitely on the attack now, if he wasn't the last few laps. Heading into the race is now 10 laps old, into lap 11. Oh goodness, Grant all over the place trying to hang on to the car as they head into Druids. That could have ended very badly. Tucks up behind David Yunt. And there's a bit of space between him and Slapinski, so he can focus on the attack in front of him. You can see how much rotation there is in Yunt's car as he goes through these corners. Looks like David Yunt got a better exit off of clearways that time. As we look at the chopper shot here, you can see the closure rate there of Grant as they come off of... Oh, here we have a much broader shot. Those three coming in there. Here comes the next, it's Jason Whited next in 4th place. Then we have Parker, Ray Radal, and David Saber all entering Druids at the same time. And there's Dave Miller in 8th. Schlapinski looks like he's closing now on Grant Riddall. Might be looking to make a move at some point here. In another 2 laps, we'll be at half distance, so that's how much quicker the pace is in this race, as opposed to the 40-lapper we just did earlier. Grant's doing a much better job in this corner than he did in the previous race of keeping the car underneath him. But you can see how much of the track he's having to use as he goes onto the grass slightly, but the...
Ray Riddall is off the road.
Oh no! What happened? We've got yellow flags all over the place here. Yes, Ray Riddall has had an incident of some kind. Let's take a look at the replay. Oh, Ray loses it going into Paddock Bend, into the kitty litter. So the question is he... Oh, my goodness, he's like pinned against the wall. He's going to have to back up. Oh, I think Ray might be going, forget this. No, he's still trying to get the car righted. Oh, my goodness. Taking an interminable amount of time for him to get out of the... Okay, he's finally getting the thing rolling again. He's all the way down in 19th place now, so... God, that's really too bad. He was having an excellent scrap with David Saber, but it looks like he just lost it on his own. Aquino is out of the race. I don't know how that happened, but that's very, very unfortunate. Della Cella, it appears, is out of the race as well. And Victor Alsacar, I think he had a spin earlier. So that means Alameda is the last car running in 20th. Meanwhile, up front, Yunt still leading. Grant is in second. Cesarius Schlapinski is in third, and he's actually probably got the closest, the best chance of getting a position in the top 3 here. Whited in 4th, Parker 5th. Saber is now closing on Parker. Goodness, he's really closing on Parker. Looks like Steve's backing up here a little bit. View from Schlapinski's car as he follows Grant Riddall and David Yunt. They're now coming up on Ray Riddall after the incident he had, so this could provide an opportunity for these cars to close together. We'll see. Actually, more than just Ray's car up here. There may be some others. Heading into the start-finish section, we're over half distance. Into Paddock Bend, downhill, and Ray's going to let everybody by here, it appears. Yes, but man, Grant really closes down under braking there. And there's a series of cars in front of David Yunt here, so there could be further chances here for Grant to slip by if the slightest miscue occurs. Mechanically, the difference here is both in engine and in chassis. That's an Alpine in front. And the GRD is probably running a Ford engine, I would think.
Yep, the Alpine is the only one with non-Ford engines.
Oh, goodness! Oh, spin! Oh, my goodness! Accident! No! I don't know how Grant managed to have that contact and continue, but he's in 3rd place now, so Schlapinski moves up to 2nd. Let's look at a replay of that incident. There was a spin that was happening right in front of Grant, and that might have tripped up his concentration. Let's look at it from his point of view. That's probably the best place to look at it. Yeah, there's a car that's already spinning, or has spun, and he spins on his own. Oh my goodness. he actually hit the car that he was reacting to, it appears. Number 61. My goodness. Now the question is, does Grant have any damage to his car? Still in third place, so we'll have to keep an eye on him and see how he's doing. Oh, he's run off the track now. Now he's in the grass, so maybe the car's understeering slightly. Schlipinski elevated to second, and now he's stalking David Yunt. He's looking for a way by Karol Markinizin. Karol lets him through. Question is he going to let Cesarius through? Looks like kind of an awkward point to let him through here in the Dassel, but he lets him by. Hansa Mild has been dispensed with by our leader, heading into the first turn. Cesarius hoping to take Hansa on the inside here. Hansa makes room. So it's getting a little bit more tricky for the front runners here. They have to thread their way through these cars. Jason Whited is up to third place now, just having overtaken Grant Riddall. So apparently Grant's car is not running as well as he would like after that contact. Hardly surprising. He is, however, staying right with Whited. Now you can see there's a dent in the front of Grant Riddall's car, so he does have some damage. Whether it's cosmetic or more serious than that, we can't really tell.
Bit of contact between Chapman and someone else. Couldn't quite see who that was, but...
Meanwhile, David Saber is definitely closing on Steve Parker for fifth. Saber's race started out good the previous one, but then he had issues towards the end, so we'll see if he can do better in this race. Oh no! David Saber has slid into the grass. He's losing time. Probably he's going to lose a position too. Well, no, he gets back on the track in sixth place, so I believe that's Dave Miller who's closing on him now, but goodness, that Clearways section bites again. Meanwhile, Grant Riddall is still right with Jason Whited. He doesn't want to let him get away. It's still amazing to me that Grant survived that collision without any appreciable damage. Still has his wings, still has his wheels. It's pretty impressive, if not lucky. Now they're closing on Karol Markinizin. And Whited looks like he got out of Clearways a bit slower than Grant, so we'll see. This next downshift will probably tell the tale. Will Grant be able to get third place back? Backs off slightly going into the turn. He's trying to prevent the car from going wide like it has in previous laps. Now they head into Druids. He looks on the outside. That's a novel approach. He's trying to get the inside line going in the next corner, but it doesn't happen. Oh, but look at this. Whited runs wide. Grant still attacking. But, no, still doesn't get it done. But these two are definitely using as much of the road as possible to maintain where they are. Still haven't gotten by Markinizin. Oh, there's Grant.
Saber's off a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Now in a fight with Griffiths just ahead of me.
So we're looking out the cockpit. Oh my goodness, looks like there's slight contact there. Oh no! Grant has been in the wall again, and Whited hits the wall too. My goodness. Grant still is now in third place, Whited fourth, and Whited has now lost a position to Parker, and he's missing his front wing. So Whited's probably going to have to go to the pits. That's really unfortunate. Let's look at a replay of this incident. They're right together. Oh my goodness. It's hard to tell there what happened, but let's take another look, maybe from up high. This will give us an idea. As they're overtaking Carol Markinizin. Oh, the wheels interlock. It looks to me like just a miscommunication there. White had moved slightly to the right, and it looks like at the same time maybe there was some movement from Grant. Can't be too sure. But that's really too bad. Whitehead loses his wing. I mean, that's a racing incident. I'm sure that you just close quarters. It's really difficult to run side by side through that section and not have an incident or not have a miscue. And Whitehead is out of the race. That's unfortunate. Meanwhile, Johnny Aces is up to 7th. Looking good. And he's closing on the aforementioned David Saber. Dave Miller is up to 5th after all that schmozzle that went on there. Parker is 4th. I can't believe Grant Riddall is still 3rd. It's amazing. Slopinski 2nd, and the leader is still David Yunt. We've got 5 laps to go in this race. Oh, Grant has spun again! Unbelievable! Now he's definitely going to drop out of the top 3. He loses a position to Steve Parker. Let's look at a replay of what this incident looked like. Is it the same location? It is. It's Paddock Bend again. God, this is not a place that Grant likes to drive today. It's like 3 incidents in this one race for him. David Yunt has set the fastest lap of the race. No surprise there. And Grant is right up with Steve again, so now he's fighting for 3rd again. Hopefully it won't be the same result as the previous one where the 3rd place car ends up going out of the race. Into Druids, and here's Grant trying to set himself up the similar way he did last time, but it didn't work then. Probably won't work this time. No, it's not going to.
Ooh, Saber with a big loose moment.
Well, that's could be useful for our friend in the Enzyme. Oh my goodness, it looks like he's actually off speed there for a moment. Oh, contact! Oh my goodness.
Wow, he broke a lot earlier than I thought he would for that turn.
Well, good save though. Jonathan stays in 7th place despite that hit. You've got Mick coming up behind you, but good job to keep the car moving. Mick Chapman didn't have the best of races the first time out. Now he's looking up the inside here. But Jonathan is not a rube in this situation. He's been here before.
That's a mistake though.
Grant Riddall staying right with Steve Parker. This is probably one of the better battles on the circuit right now. Especially if you take into account that the green car has probably got damage. Oh, look at this, pulling right up alongside. Oh, there's contact. I wouldn't be buying a used car from the Brian Henton team after this race. Parker definitely seems to be slowing up here. It looks like Grant's going to have a shot coming down the outside. I don't know if this is a good idea given his history with this corner. Into Paddock Bend. No, it didn't work because he had to slow up to stay on the track. Heading into Druids. Well, I'll tell you what, Grant gets an A for effort in this race.
We're on the final lap as well.
Yeah, this is the final lap of the race, by the way.
Oh, no.
David Yunt has won the race. There he goes, another win, another 20 points. Shalapinski is in second. Here comes Parker and Grant off the final turn. We'll see what happens here. Grant's looking to... I don't think he's going to make it, though. Oh! Did he do it? He did! He got third place! Unbelievable! Let's look at that in a replay. He just pipped him at the line. That's impressive. Let's see. Right here. Look for the line. There it is. Just barely. Grant Riddall gets third place ahead of Steve Parker. Fantastic. Fifth goes to Dave Miller. Sixth, David Saber. Seventh to Mick Chapman. Eighth to Johnny Aces. So Mick was able to get by there.
Yeah, I had a spin at Paddock Hill.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Ninth, Michael Griffiths. 10th, Bruno Chacon. Those are the point scorers. 11th, Matthias Estrella. 12th, Ray Riddall. 13th, Gerard Rion. 14th, Hansa Mild. 15th, Carol Markinizin. 16th, Luis Almeida. 17th, Jason Whitehead. 18th, Adam Hackman. 19th, Philippe Martinelli. 20th, Mato Small. 21st, Little Al. 22nd, Greg Delacella. And 23rd, Victor Alsaker. So that was rounds 9 and 10 of this series. Definitely a not too much shocking about this race as far as who wins these two rounds, but there was definitely some exciting racing throughout, I would think, Jonathan.
Oh, for sure. It's certainly were some close battles all the way through the field from what I could see, and yeah, definitely a case of consistency gets you results around here.
So, with the situation we're in now, it definitely looks like David Yunt could wrap up the title at the next event. All he really needs is 15 points to mathematically lock it out because he just got another 20. So, we will be keeping an eye on that. Don't forget, next Wednesday, or this coming Wednesday, actually, we have the 1995 Touring Car Series, and there's some cars available for that race, I believe, so take part in it if you want. We have the 88 Kart Series later on this month, October 27th, I believe, which is Elkhart Lake, and over at ISO, we have the Race of Champions on November 3rd. Any closing thoughts, Jonathan, before we close out the broadcast?
Just that David Yunt definitely is on a roll in this championship. There doesn't seem to be much that can be done about him and his pace. And the racing continues to be very close and very fun to see and partake in. So looking forward to STW on Wednesday, and then next F3 and kart races to come after that.
Yes, I agree. All right, well, we'll go ahead and close out the broadcast. Two very exciting races at Brands Hatch. Jonathan, thank you for broadcasting with me. I know doing that and driving is not easy. This is Jason White saying so long from Brands Hatch. We'll see you next time.